So the strategy I'm going to be modeling today is making inferences. So I would start by saying, okay guys, during small groups today, we're going to be using a strategy in our reader's tool belt called inferencing. Inferencing is when we use stuff that we already know, along with clues in the text, to form an idea. Inferencing is something that you do every day, but you probably didn't even realize it. It's when we use the clues around us to make sense of what is happening. For instance, if you walked into the classroom and you saw my coffee mug on the floor with coffee everywhere and I was crying, why would you think I was crying? You're right, I'd probably be crying because of my precious coffee that was wasted, or maybe I was burned when it spilled. That's making an inference. It's as easy as that. Inferencing is a skill that good readers use all of the time. They use their background knowledge or stuff that they already know, including the text, to help them understand what they're reading. If you're able to make inferences while you're reading, you're better able to understand the text. It will make reading that much easier. So then I would go on to begin reading chapter 1 and pausing spots where it would be necessary for the students to make it. I would probably start looking back at the title because I think the cover page, because I think the picture lends itself to an inference really well. I would start by reading the title saying, "Doggone" is just such a fascinating title. I wonder why the author chose it. I bet I can make an inference about what this book is going to be about just by looking at the book's cover. I see a man and two children. The man is hanging off the side of a steep cliff reaching for something, but I can't see what. In the background, I can see a sign that says, "Danger, steep cliff." I wonder if, because the title is "Doggone," that maybe a dog fell off the cliff. Although I can't see a dog in the picture, I can assume that there will be a dog in the story since the title is "Doggone." I'm using the clues the illustrator gave in this image to help make an inference about what this book is like. So my inference is that the dog fell off the cliff, and my evidence is that I see a man reaching for something off the side of a cliff, and the title of the story is "Doggone." So then that's where I would go ahead and jump in and start reading the chapter, pausing where necessary, where inferencing is necessary. That I thought was really easily lent to inferencing was right where Eva turned her fingers through the wire door that kept inside while they were driving. The doll leaned forward and Eva scratched her. She brought Lucho and had not left them all. The author is giving us clues about how Eva feels about her dog Lucha. Based on that text, I can infer that Eva cares for Lucho and likes having him around, enough so that she wanted to take him on their trip to see their grandma. My evidence for this inference is that Eva wanted to scratch Lucha's ear while they were riding in the car, and she said that she was glad they took him with. Okay? The next inference I can make is right here where it says Lucho needs to run, said Miguel. Here I can infer that they've been driving for quite some time and that Lucho needs to stretch out his legs. My evidence is that I know they are on a car trip to their grandma's house and that they've just stopped for gas. This tells me that they've been in the car for a while. Another I would pause is right here where it says, Eva waited hopefully. She was sure that Lucho must hear Papa call. She searched for the landscape with her eye, desperately wanted to see the little dog come hurtling through the scrub, but there was nothing, not even an answering bark. Wow, I can infer that Lucho must be far enough away from Papa and Eva that he can't hear them. Because I learned in the previous text that Lucho cares for his family, I would assume that he would come running back if he heard them calling. But if he can't hear them, he must be pretty far away. At least in this chapter, that pause to make an inference is the woman at the hotel shook her head when they told her about Lucho. You need to be careful, she warned them. It's very rocky and there are a lot of steep bluffs. It's a fabulous place for rock climbing, not so good for except on the... Here, I can use the text evidence to infer how this must have made the family feel about finding their dog. I bet this information they learned made them feel scared for Lucho. They probably were worried that this might make finding him harder, or maybe he would fall off the cliff and get hurt. Based on what we saw on the cover, it might be safe to make an overall inference that Lucho did fall off a cliff. And then, to continue on, for guided practice, I would have the student read chapter 2 while filling in the graphic organizer that I provided everybody with on the text copy of this video, where they're going to make an inference, tell me what the text says, what they say, and what they can omit. Amongst struggling learners or struggling readers and ELL learners, I would allow them the option to listen to the chapter being read to them online after they've attempted to read it silently to themselves. And to apply the strategy within their own reading, I would provide that same graphic organizer while they're doing a 20-minute read of a story of their own choice and use that as means of assessing whether or not they're able to make inferences.